We see continual advertisements for ED meds when guys really just need fitness. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today, but a quick reminder, if you guys will please click like down below, be greatly appreciated. If you're not subscribed or following, please do so. And if you will be kind enough to drop me a comment down below, I would also greatly appreciate that. Let's get over into the topic. I'm seeing this nonstop, and realistically, this is a sad state of affairs when we have all these guys in their 20s who need these meds. The reality is what we have is a health, we have an obesity, we have a diet problem, we have a food addiction problem, and I'm even going to get into the problem of potentially porn addiction. We don't even need to jump into that far. Because these other things I think are the bigger issues. And I don't want to ignore that, but I want to stick to fitness itself because that's mainly what I do. But I do want to say that probably is a factor also, right? But let's get over and talk about this. We got to think about one, blood pressure. We got to think about atherosclerosis, inflammation, how that affects blood flow, right? How that affects blood flow to that area. And then you got to think in terms of the overall health effects on serotonin, dopamine, all that stuff in the brain from your diet and fitness and other stuff. Okay, these are all factors. Like, guys should not be having these problems. They should not be having these problems. And then alcohol and booze and other stuff on top of that, right? These are contributors. But right up front, things like blood pressure, guys, this is a big one. Okay, if your blood pressure isn't reasonable, you have high blood pressure due to, again, not doing cardio, not lifting weights, eating a bad diet, too much saturated fat, high sodium to potassium ratio, all these different factors, right? And particularly, I think on that, the sodium itself is not always a problem, okay? If your diet itself isn't particularly inflammatory, it's not causing you to retain extra water, and you have a fair amount of salt, but your potassium is also high, this may not be an issue, may not even be affecting blood pressure. But blood pressure itself can absolutely be something that affects ED. And you guys know what ED is. It means, erectile dysfunction. You can't perform in the bedroom, guys. Okay? All right? But this is a health issue, right? I don't want to make this about anything but health, because this really is a health issue, and that's what we need to be discussing. In this case, this is a men's health issue. So again, blood pressure. How about inflammation? How about atherosclerosis? Your diet's too high in saturated fat. You have too much inflammation in your diet. Well, what can fix some of this? How about you cut your saturated fat down? Okay, how about you eat more fruits and vegetables? Again, you got dudes over here, this idea that somehow not eating vegetables is in some way manly. It's like, dudes, brothers, kings, listen to me on this one. Listen to me on this one. Eating vegetables, fruits and vegetables, has antioxidants. This lowers inflammation in the body. Do you understand that's a factor here? Okay? That's a factor, because that's going to affect what happens a lot of times with blood flow, how inflamed capillary beds and blood vessels are. Okay? Getting that under control is going to help you. And believe me, I'm not some person promoting a vegan or a vegetarian diet where someone says, oh, blah, you're saying limit the saturated fat and eat more vegetables. Guys, I eat meat, I eat dairy. I don't have a problem with guys eating a lean steak in the context of a balanced, healthy diet. I don't think an occasional fatty steak, look, when I say a lean steak, I'm talking flank steak, sirloin, I think those can be solid, stable proteins. And I can tell you right now, a ribeye once a week is not going to wreck you either. Okay, you probably don't want to be eating it every day, but I think once a week is probably not going to be a problem. A leaner cuts of steak, perfectly fine, guys. I lean in the direction of more chicken and stuff, or really lean steak. My personal preferences, but you also have to pound down the vegetables, guys. Especially the leafy green stuff, the cruciferous vegetables, the broccoli, the spinach. So there you go. There's your context. How about some extra healthy fats to get that inflammation under control? Right? That's still, for most of you guys, it should be no problem with that. Look, why can't you eat, if you want more carbs, why can't you have a baked potato, right? A baked potato with that nice lean cut of steak. Have some steamed broccoli on the side. Or if you're going to go a lower carb approach, all right, a nice lean steak. And how about some avocados? How about an avocado with it, some steamed broccoli? Right? You're good to go, okay? This will get that inflammation under control there. But you can also go the bro route. How about chicken, rice, and vegetables? This works fine too. Get that inflammation under control, get healthy, get fit. Then you have to think about the gut dysregulation from eating the junk food. If you're sitting around eating garbage, excessive amounts of grease, particularly excessive amounts of refined sugars. All right, this is a big one, guys. Refined sugars. Okay? This is huge because this is going to affect your gut health. Gut health is going to affect your neurotransmitters, it's going to affect your dopamine responses, your serotonin, all this stuff. That is going to affect that. So again, you're standing around eating garbage junk food, ultra-processed foods, right? Tons of saturated fat, tons of refined sugars. You're going to have problems. Okay, you're going to have these problems. Let's talk about fitness and being in shape. Insulin sensitivity, blood flow. Why aren't you lifting weights? Okay, again, you're not lifting weights, you're not building muscle, you're not doing the stuff you need to do. That's a problem. How about the guys who are like, I don't do any cardio? Yeah, you don't think that's a factor? So you guys are standing around still eating junk, not lifting, and you're not going to do cardio? You think about blood pressure, think about blood flow, think about performance there. This is a big deal. Okay? This is just flat being out of shape. And then taking a med for it, saying, oh, I hope it kicks in time while she's still in the mood. Oh, man. Come on, guys. They're not only talking about getting older and then needing TRT, because that kicks in all the time. You're good full time. But if your blood pressure and stuff's too high, that's not going to work either, is it? You're still going to have these problems if you're out of shape. You have bad blood flow, high blood pressure. So it's not going to help the situation. Have those things to think about. Then what about the alcohol, the booze, right? Most of you guys out there might be familiar with that term, whiskey dick. Okay? It's out there for a reason. Alcohol, absolutely going to affect this. So again, let's really look at what your culprits are. You don't need a med. You guys need to be eating a cleaner, healthier diet of whole foods. You need to be getting some sunshine, some fresh air. You need to be lifting weights. You need to be doing cardio. You need to be staying off the booze, staying off the weed. And maybe if you got a problem with a prawn addiction, you might want to consider cutting that out too on top of it. All right, here's your solutions, guys. Your solution's not Viagra. It's not a Cialis. I'm not saying those things can't be fun on occasion for a bit of extra recreation here or there. I'm not saying they can't be, but that's not your solution. You need to get fit. You need to be healthy. You need to be in shape. You need to have a good lifestyle. And these problems go away, and then you can perform. You're good to go. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.